Now, few things in this world are as exciting as an HR conference. I mean, just the exhilaration, the chance to get to no, no, I don't think so, at least for the vast majority of us. Now, to be fair though, those who are longtime viewers of the program know that I'm pretty critical of HR, and it's because they have a really challenging and difficult job. They command the attention of the senior leaders and the bosses, and to many, what the work that they do is, it's challenging to get our hands wrapped around it, and they seem to get a pass on everything, is the way it looks. Now, as again, I was prior HR, and I fully understand that that's not the case. You do have those individuals that are, again, working for the best interests of the company, and I think that's where a lot of folks get it twisted. But with that, since HR does have an oversized effect on the way that companies run, I always pay attention to their conferences and what they're saying in their conferences, because those priorities will make their way down to every single business at some point. It's what happens. So today we're going to take a look at a Forbes article from an individual who went to the worldwide HR conference, and that sounds like fun, Transform, last week, and provided some insight on it. So let's go take a look at it. Again, for those that don't know, I'm a business coach that works out of West Michigan, around the country. I come live on YouTube pretty much every single day, sharing information that I share with my clients, and I hope to earn your subscription. So let's get into it here. Link to the Forbes article is going to be in the description. Let's go. The new HR imperative, 5 takeaways from Transform. Again, Transform is the worldwide conference that HR has here, and it was in Vegas. Always a good place to have a conference. Now, in its 6th year, Transform has evolved into a premier global gathering of HR and people operations professionals with attendees. And this is the important piece, from 35 countries. This isn't just America-centric. This is 35 countries from around the world. As Samara Jaffe, the GM and co-founder of Transform, shared with this individual, the conference emerged from a gap in the HR conference landscape. We saw chief people officers and chief HR officers who were hungry to discover new technology, connect more meaningfully with their peers, and challenge the way that work gets done. So TLDR, they wanted to be able to have a spot where they can get together and talk, and basically share best practices, but also try to coordinate their efforts. And that's what we're going to look at here. So here's the 5 takeaways from the conference. Now, this one isn't relatively new. HR is finally sitting at the table. I have another article, or another video that I did specifically addressing the fact that HR has a seat at the table now, and they have for about 3 years. It's time for them to start looking at their decisions through an operations lens. And that is what we're starting to see happen here. HR was always, wasn't a support function, it was a staff function. So I disagree in the way that they say it here. But it was always a staff function that sat outside, but it was there to, did have a vital role in as far as providing the people, right? The human capital for the business. So let's go with what they have to say here. So Tina Gupta, Senior Vice President of Talent Management at New York Life. I don't think people call us a support function the same way anymore. Like when we're at the table making big decisions that are strategy focused, that is how we're enabling the future work, the workplace, and how we're enabling the company to achieve their goals. Lots of word salad in there, folks, but really what they're getting to here is that it's understanding exactly the type of people that we need and their skill sets in order to, again, with the mindset of operations as being at the forefront, right? That's where their brains are at right now. And they're going to start being evaluated on their return on investment in HR. That's what happens when you get a seat at the table. All of a sudden, accountability starts happening. Then we had the same thing going on with marketing many years ago. Marketing and HR weren't at the table, but they also weren't held as accountable. Marketing moved up. Now it's HR's turn. Now, the elevation of HR from support function to strategic partner reflects a broader recognition that organizational success depends on effective people leadership. In a business environment characterized by rapid technological change and evolving employee expectations, HR professionals process unique insights into culture, talent, and engagement. Again, critical factors. And again, this is a reminder for everyone, HR doesn't work for people. They work for the company. Right? They're there to make sure the company is successful. So for a long time, they've been looking at people as something that they had to, placate, and they had to placate the masses. and come, find a way to make everyone happy. That shift has occurred now where it's no, we need to make sure that the people are being taken care of. They're the right people in the right seats, and they're effective in the seats that they're in. So that's where you're starting to see this here. HR is about to be ripped in half. Godfather of talent, optimization, all the tactical menial stuff is going to go away to outsourcers and AI. But the strategic stuff that's left, again, that's what he's trying to help. They're trying to help people prepare for, and I've seen that, and that leads to what we're going to talk about this next piece, which is AI is reshaping workforce strategy. HR realized rather quickly in the last 2 years, really it's been in the last 2 years, a vast majority of the work that they actually do can be automated through AI. A vast majority. Not saying it's right, not saying it's being done, it's better. Not saying it's worse. It's just that they have been forced to turn over a lot of their paperwork stuff over to AI and the other aspects that they did, which is, definitely caused some consternation in the AI, in the HR space. But also, now that we have these folks, what are we going to do with them? And so this is where HR, rather than just giving up everything to AI, they said, hey, how can we actually use HR? How can we use AI to help us do better at HR? That's what they're saying. I just be honest on this one. I am not a big fan of how AI is currently being leveraged in a lot of the way with HR. I don't like how they're using it necessarily in the hiring world. As I've done multiple videos on that, but that in particular, the way that they have the applicant tracking systems, when people apply for jobs, the AI is basically just, do they fit in this box, and this box, and that's what's happening. That needs to be figured out still. That's still not quite right. Not sure, and it's going to involve a whole education on how to write resumes and redo all those things. But we'll get there when we get there. Now, so AI emerges both a significant disruption and opportunity, reshaping how organizations approach talent strategy and workforce planning. Tina Gupta from New York Life shared, I'm excited, thrilled, can't wait. And the reason is because it's going to force disruption in the workforce. HR is really slow to move. I don't think a truer, we're going to call that a sentence or a clause, has ever been uttered. HR is really slow to move. We overthink everything. Good Lord, man, this to itself could be bumper sticker. This actually, you know what? Instead of inspirational posters around the workplace, let's just get these printed up and put them around the conference room. I think this would inspire more people. HR is really slow to move. We overthink everything. And yeah, anyways, the infiltration of AI in the work is the same type of pace and impact that's going to have on how we disrupt the way that work gets done. Lots of word in there, but basically, with the way that AI needs to be utilized is to free HR up from certain tasks, but there needs to be oversight on the way that HR is, or the way that the AI is mixing up the work. And that's one of the things that I struggle with right now is there's no quality assurance function, at least a solid quality assurance function in the with HR. And so HR, if you're out there listening, that would be where I would be focusing your energies at right now. What does it look like to get some sort of oversight on the way that your AI is sorting and doing work that you call menial, right? Which is reviewing people's resumes for livelihood. Now, I want to skip down here a couple other things here, because this, AI, we all know that's going to be a thing. AI is going to come in. We just don't know how it's going to be used yet. And that's one of the things where, yes, we know AI is coming in, but we're still 5 years away till we really figure out how we're going to use AI. It's just part of the deal. But here's the one piece that you're seeing here. Now, I had middle managers. As many of you know, I've spent time with talking about the importance of middle managers, and they translate. That's what middle managers do. They translate, orders and directions, right, from senior leaders. They take that and then turn that into action and what the deliverables need to be for the lower level supervisors and the teams that are on the ground doing their thing. And there is such a lack of training that exists for middle managers, so much so that they now in Amazon, you see they're clearing out the vast majority of them. The issue that you have to come in with, though, with middle managers, right? It's supposed to be a training ground for senior leadership. That's how you're supposed to view middle management. Instead, what's happened is it is a dumping ground for careers that want to go nowhere. That's what's kind of happening, unfortunately. So HR is taking a look at this and saying, "Hey, we've got to figure out ways to enhance middle managers." Now, for me, it's one of the courses that I actually offer. It's effective coaching conversations for leaders at all levels. It's specifically designed to help middle managers to talk to their teams and do better, and how to be much more efficient and effective in the way that they can to meet their employees' needs. It's a big part of what middle management doesn't know how to do, which is to have those critical conversations. So that's one thing we work on. Now, with this, let's get into what they have to say here. Tom Whitty, Chief Revenue Officer at Upflex, identified this persistent gap. When we hire a brand new individual contributor, I love that, HR guys. We hire a new individual contributor, an employee. They tend to get a lot of training and support. Executives tend to get a lot of training and support. And then it's those front to middle level management that you get thrust into, and it's like, go be a manager, and that's it. I was really shocked and I was bewildered, to be quite honest, when I got out. I was in the military. I was in the Air Force for over 20 years. When I got out into the civilian world, and I was like, you guys haven't got any training yet? You got people becoming supervisors and managers for the first time in their mid 30s and early 30s, late 20s, mid 30s, wherever it was that gap. And I was like, you've never had any supervisor training? I had my first supervisor training when I was 19 in the military. Like they sent us to training to help us right off the bat be better as supervisors and understand what that was like. And it didn't stop. It was about every 18 months to 2 years, I was in another training on supervision, leadership, management, whatever it was. So this huge gap, an investment gap that happens with businesses, they've got to figure out. And really what they get into in this conversation is that we've got to find a way to do it. And their worry, and the big worry that businesses have, and I'll just be right up front with this, is that if we train these folks and they get really good at their job, they're now going to be able to go and work somewhere else, right? They're going to be people are going to want to hire them somewhere else. That's an issue that'll come up. That's the wrong train of thought. It's not, what if we train them and they leave? The question needs to be, what if we don't train them and they stay? That's the issue. Like, that's the main focus. And that's what they're really get into here is you have to be investing in your middle management and understand that you're going to lose over half of them. They're going to go find work elsewhere. That's okay. It's fine. As long as you have a training mindset and understand that it's always training in the middle management world, it'll be fine. Trust me. I've lived that life. It works out really well. A lot of the businesses that I work with are there as well. All right. So from the thumbnail, DEIB. This is a new one that dropped on me when I was reviewing this weekend. I was like, oh, we have DEIB now, which is diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging. I had no idea there was a B in this now. Apparently there is. Now, with this, this is something that HR is going to continue to push here. It's something that they have. Sarah Reynolds, Chief Marketing Officer at HiBob, addressed how companies are responding to the current political environment. There's a lot of big companies that are moving away from their DEI initiatives. That's happening. However, for the smaller businesses, they're looking at this as an opportunity to highlight the fact that they are going to continue to push their DEIB efforts, with B being belonging, that this is the place that you should be and feel welcome there, as a differentiator, as something they can market within the economy itself, within the job offering. So yeah, we maintain strong DEI B component here. And they are emphasizing that is going to be a differentiator. It's going to help with hiring in the future. So HR made a point. They went out with their customers, but also with their employees and potential employees. This is something that they felt was that they need to have on there. So expect this to be, again, to continue to be something that you're going to see in the small business world as well. And lastly is going to be resilience. Resilience is the new leadership imperative. One of my favorite favorite phrases that I always had was, you are going, someone folded like a lawn chair, right? No resiliency. They just cannot hold up to scrutiny or anything else that may be coming up. And what you want to build within your organization is a level of resiliency. You want people who can, just go, I'm going to say go with the flow, but again, they want to be able to move with whatever way the market forces and the market is changing. And that's extremely important. Now, the way you do that, and what they don't talk about here, and this is the big piece with resiliency, is that many people are not able to bounce back from, a significant issue that pops up in their lives, a significant hardship that happens in business. The reason that happens is because they're worried about, they think they're going to get fired if they make mistakes. That is so huge in the mentality for folks there where they don't have the resiliency because, I mean, what evidence do you have that these folks aren't going to get fired for making a mistake? Layoffs are happening everywhere. And that's going to be key and heart of what HR needs to make sure that they are working with the rest of, operations and the leadership teams to understand that if you want to have resilient folks, they need to know that not only will mistakes happen, as long as it's from good intent, right? Good intent. That mistakes happen, that they're going to use those as learning opportunities instead of reasons to fire them. If you can get through that piece, now folks are going to be more willing to, I don't want to say take risks, but spend a little extra time working on that particular project, raise their hand to do something different, right? And that's the big piece for resiliency here. So, again, links to the article we talked about there is going to be, it's in the description. Be sure to go check that out. Now, again, what I'm telling my clients going forward is pretty straightforward. Understand what HR is talking about here. Do you have to run with all these things? Absolutely not. They are not a requirement for many small businesses. With that being said, these are going to be pushed, and you're going to hear more and more, continue to hear about this going forward. So the sooner you can find ways to adopt certain aspects of this. So for instance, are there things that you can use AI for, your AI agents in your HR world, to free up your HR manager to do more training, to be able to look at certain things, more time with the team? Is there things that you can do, again, in DEIB that you can use as, hey, a differentiator in this world where benefits are getting cut back and other decisions are being made? Is this something that you can utilize and say, hey, come work here, we got you, this is where you're supposed to be? Things you should look at. All right. So with that, again, take time, go check out the article. I appreciate y'all hanging out to this point here. If you'd like to learn more about how I help businesses grow faster than they ever thought possible,